Security, is it? And we want to tell them to keep their filthy hands off of our Social Security. We did not cause this problem.
Yes.
Social Security did not cause this deficit.
No.
Medicare did not cause this deficit.
No.
Medicaid did not cause this deficit.
No.
So instead of trying to balance the budget on the back of the elderly, on the back of the retirees, on the back of the disabled, and on the backs of children, they should make these millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share. We have a person who proudly served his country in the U.S. military, became disabled. So I'd like to bring, he also serves as a chaplain at Harbor Hospital, Pierre Williams. So please give Pierre a round of applause, please.
Good afternoon. It's good to see everybody here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right. All right. Well, I'm here because I am retired and I have a limited income. My way of life will probably change if the Republicans have their way.
No!
What we're hearing from the politicians in Washington these days, you would think that Medicare, and Social Security are the causes of the collapse of our economy. You know and I know that that's wrong. Am I right about it?
You're right!
So I think what we need to do is to tell Obama and friends to take their filthy hands off of Social Security. Social Security is something in which all of us have paid in over all of our lives. It's a promise, my friends, of a better life. It's a way in which to maintain our economic survival. So I'm here to tell you to call those numbers that are just given to us, and to let our legislators, let President Obama, let Wall Street know that hands off of our money. Bless you, bless you.
Okay, and your name is?
I'm Grandmother Edna.
And what's important about today's rally for you?
Today's rally is important to be so stunned that America would turn on their working class seniors. You know, I worked 50 years of my life. We put in place the Social Security system, and then to have our elected officials who really, if you want to be honest, all that millions of dollars they talk about their campaign funds, we donated that money to them. So now it's a joke to be on TV and an embarrassment for us to have to come out here as working class, retired, disabled seniors and fight for a system that we really put in place. I think our government should be ashamed. I love the president. I'm going to support him 100%, but I think that the political parties that's putting the seniors out with military rifles shooting us in the back ought to be ashamed of themselves. But they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Thank you.
And your name, sir?
Reverend C.D. Witherspoon of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
Reverend, why is it important for you to be at this rally here today?
Well, it's critical for senior citizens, clearly, but also people on disabilities, for us to come and to celebrate and to be with them today as they fight for Social Security benefits. It's critical. Folk have worked their entire lives. They've invested into this system, and now it's time for them, for the federal government to make good on that contract, and that contract is now in jeopardy. And we just need to be about the business of just advocating very strongly to ensure that America keeps its promise by our senior citizens.
Thank you much.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Vito Skierczynski. Social Security exists throughout the country. We represent here, AFG represents 52,000 plus employees across the country who work at the Social Security Administration. We have 1,300 field offices where people file benefit claims. We have 150 hearings offices where people file their appeals. We have 33 teleservice centers manned by folks who answer your 800 number calls. In addition to the threats against Social Security benefits, Republicans have also declared war on federal employees in their attempt to preserve tax breaks for the rich. They are willing to risk a default by refusing to agree to an increase in the debt ceiling unless Congress and the President agree to destroy the current federal employee pension system. Recent information indicates that current federal employees will have to pay up to 400% more than they're currently paying into their pensions every pay period.
People who are hanging on by a thread, and many of them, the thread's broken. And what we're talking about today is whether it's going to be Congress and the President that, for those who still hold on to the thread, whether it's going to be them who cut it. So we need to fight back. When they say take back, we need to say fight back! Unequivocally, we need to fight back. I think about Bob. Bob spent 44 years working. He took 1 week off in 44 years, and then he found himself with a broken leg. He went into the hospital, they put in a rod, and not only did he leave the hospital with a rod in his leg, he left the hospital with a MRSA infection. He spent 9 months in a nursing home, and during that time, he lost his job. When he lost his job, he lost his health care. And then he lost his home, and he was discharged onto the streets of Baltimore. Eventually, he got Social Security. Eventually, he got his Medicare. It's not Bob that's causing the current debt crisis. It is not Bob that's causing the debt crisis. It's not people that are coming into the health care for the homeless that are causing the debt crisis. It's the wars that are causing the debt crisis. It's tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires that are causing the debt crisis. And the idea that we would balance the budget on the backs of people like Bob is, it seems, inexcusable. What kind of a society do we live in when what we're considering doing is balancing the budgets on the backs of people like Bob? It's evil, it's unconscionable, it's shame. That's what Congress, that's what the President should be told if this is what they're really contemplating. Shame. Shame on you for considering this. So thank you all for being out here. It's so important that we protect Medicaid. It's so important that we protect Social Security. And the change that we need to see in Medicare isn't cutting benefits. It's not cutting people off the program. It's improving Medicare and making it available to every American. What we need is health security. We need economic security. And it's only when we have those things are we going to have the kind of country that I want to live in, and I think all of you want to live in too. Thank you.
Hands off! Hands off! Hands off! Hands off!
Hands off! Hands off! Rallies, and Doc Cheatham always sees me. So, Fred, come up and say a few words. So I'm returning the favor, brother. Doc Cheatham.
This is a rally. Let me hear you say, fired up. Won't take it no more. We're fired up. Won't take it no more. And say, hands up. Social Security. Hands up. Medicaid. Hands up. Medicare. Hands up. Hands up. Hands off.
Cut. And all of a sudden, realize surplus, just by saying cut with no impact on people. Already you have it understaffed, underfunded Social Security Administration. When they talk about cut and realizing savings, they're talking about cutting people. They're talking about eliminating jobs, eliminating your benefits, and cutting services. John Gage says no to that. That is not the way to go. So put it together, folks. John Gaines. John, give it out, John.
Thank you, Fred. And it's wonderful to see these green shirts out here. We're not done in Wisconsin, are we, Glenn? We are not done in Wisconsin.
Yes, John.
I just want to say one thing about that. These attacks on working people are not just on our Social Security, not just on our Medicare. They're on our basic rights, on our union rights, and we are not going to stand for it. They are not going to use. In our TSA campaign, this right wing came out and said, being a union member is detrimental to national security. That's an insult to the labor movement. That's an insult to every working person in this country, and we're not going to stand for it. So, brothers and sisters, I remember candidate Obama during the election. John McCain will cut Social Security, I won't. Remember that? John McCain will cut Medicare, I won't. All right, Mr. President, it's showtime. It is showtime. Mr. President, we work for you. Everybody out here, did you work for President Obama in this campaign? We put you in there, President Obama, and we're going to keep you in there. But don't turn your back on Social Security. Don't turn your back on Medicare. These are working class programs. These are the heart of America. So, brothers and sisters, how is our voice going to be heard? Maybe we have to go back to another time. And it's not so much stand up, but sit down. Maybe we got to start sitting down again. Maybe we got to have a little civil disobedience. Maybe we got to shut down some of these government buildings down in Washington. Let them know that we mean it. We are not going back. We are not going to let them take this country back to the 1930s. We're not going to let them take us back. We're not going back. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you.